السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا أرحم الراحمين. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal, teach us what benefit us from what He taught us, and increase us in knowledge. My dear, beloved, respected brothers and sisters, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us from the people that benefit from the reminder, inshallah. So we started this beautiful series, just a reminder, and I thank you again for all your suggestions for topics to be discussed. We mentioned in our last episode about the most important reminder, and that is, what are we doing here? To remind ourselves about the reason for our existence. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that we are here to worship Allah Azza wa Jal. Today, inshallah ta'ala, today's reminder is as important. After we knew that our reason for existence is to worship Allah Azza wa Jal, we have to know how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we're taking the reminders before I remind myself and I remind you about the importance of salat and the importance of fasting and charity and parents and this and that. And we have so many topics to discuss, inshallah. We have to make sure that our aqidah, our creed is intact, it is strong. We have a strong foundation, because if the foundation is weak, no matter how much a'mal we do, they will not be accepted. If we are, for example, committing shirk without knowing, no matter what we do, then all our a'mal multiplied by 0. So we have to strengthen the foundation, and that is the main reason for this series, is to be reminded of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and what pleases Him, right? So we have established first that we are here to worship Allah. Today, inshallah ta'ala, we will be discussing the pillars of La ilaha illallah. I mentioned them in a khutbah a few weeks ago, but since this topic is a reminder, and this is one of the most important reminders, is what are the pillars of La ilaha illallah. Every rukn of the arkan of Islam has conditions and had pillars. Salat has pillars. For example, I cannot pray without Fatiha, I cannot pray without sujood, without ruku'. These are pillars of our regular 5 daily salawat, right? The pillar of fasting is not to eat and drink from Maghrib to Isha. The pillar of Hajj is being in Arafah. Every rukn has pillars and have conditions also, shurut, okay? Similarly, La ilaha illallah have pillars, and it has 2 pillars. What are these pillars? Right after the most or the best ayah in the Qur'an, which is Ayat al-Kursi, ayah number 255 in Surah Al-Baqarah, look at the ayah right after that. In that ayah, there are the 2 pillars of La ilaha illallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the closest translation, there shall be no compulsion in religion. The right way has been distinct from the wrong way. The right way is clear and the wrong way is clear. Whoever renounces Taghut, and we will explain what Taghut means, and believes in Allah, renounces Taghut and believes in Allah, then he has grasped the most trustworthy handle, which does not break, al-urwa al-wuthqa. We will explain that also. And Allah is all hearing and all knowing. My brothers and sisters, the most important thing is to be known to Allah as a mu'min. Does not matter what the people know about you here in this dunya. We want to be registered with Allah as believers. This is our goal. What Allah knows about us. So the 2 pillars of La ilaha illallah is disbelieving in Taghut and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, al-urwa al-wuthqa, whomsoever disbelieve in Taghut and believe in Allah, he had held tight. He had held tight. What is this urwa al-wuthqa? Ibn Abbas, the Tarjuman of the Qur'an, the one whom Allah, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made dua for. Ya Allah, give him knowledge of the deen. Ya Ibn Abbas, what is al-urwa al-wuthqa? He said, La ilaha illallah. Similarly, Sa'id ibn Jubayr and al-Dhahhak, they all said, al-urwa al-wuthqa is La ilaha illallah. So in order to be firm on La ilaha illallah, you have to disbelieve in Taghut and believe in Allah. We hear so many lectures about believing in Allah, but we hardly hear anything about disbelieving in Taghut. Subhanallah. So, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in the verse we said that a Muslim, the true Muslim is the one who rejects the Taghut and believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to know what is the Taghut. In order to reject it, we have to know what Taghut is in order to reject it. Taghut has been defined by the classical scholars as anything or anyone who is worshipped or obeyed or submitted to or followed other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, Taghut is anyone or anything that is worshipped other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyone that claims that he knows the unseen, he's a Taghut. Anyone that claims that his hukum, his ruling is better than the ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Taghut. Anyone that thinks his legislation is better than the legislation of Allah is Taghut. Anyone who asks people to worship him is a Taghut. Okay, and we as believers, as mu'mins, we have to reject all kinds of Taghut. Shaitan is a big Taghut. And if you look at the translation, many of the translations, they translate Taghut as evil, shar. Okay, Shaitan is Taghut. Okay, so we have to disbelieve and reject all kinds of Taghut sincerely from the bottom of our heart, not just by verbalizing it. No, believing that the Taghut is to be rejected. No one is worthy of worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so we have to reject the Taghut and believe in Allah in order to be a Muslim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Qur'an in Surah Al-Nahl, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. And we have verily sent among every nation a messenger to do what? Worship Allah and ijtanibu. Remember we spoke about ijtanibu, avoid the Taghut. The word ijtanibu, the verb ijtanibu, when it comes in the Qur'an, it is the highest level of haram. It was used for worshipping idols. It was used to stay ijtanibu the alcohol, gambling, qawl al-zur, false testimony. All these, the word ijtanibu was before them. Similarly, the word ijtanibu is used for Taghut. Okay? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that every prophet who came told his people, worship Allah and stay away from Taghut. Even the word La ilaha illallah, it is nafi and ithbat. La ilaha, that means there's no one worthy of worship other than Allah. And this is, by the way, the second rukun. The first rukun is disbelief in Taghut. We explained what Taghut is. Second is iman in Allah, right? Believe in Allah. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ. And if I say, whomsoever stay away from eating and drinking and stay away from approaching their spouses, then they are fasting. I cannot just say only away from eating and drinking, then he's fasting, and then he can go and have a relationship with his wife. No, both together, then he will be fasting. Similarly, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا. Then he is from the people who are steadfast on La ilaha illallah. So La ilaha illallah consists both La ilaha and illallah. La ilaha means there's none worthy of worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala negates the existence of anything that is worthy of worship, and illallah, and that except Allah, which is ithbat. It is affirmation that Allah, that all worship is due to Allah alone. Both together make La ilaha illallah. Yakfur bil Taghut is negate the kufr, and وَيُؤْمِن billah is to ithbat, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one worthy of worship. That consists iman billah, that He is the only creator, He is the only provider, only sustainer, and He is the only one worthy of worship, and His names and attributes are all perfect and free from any deficiency. So my brothers and sisters, today's reminder is extremely important. Sit down with your children, sit down with your spouses, sit down with your brothers and sisters, forward this, because many people, they do so many ibadat and so many actions, and the La ilaha illallah is not already established. And this is the main rukun. This is what makes us Muslims. The first rukun is Shahada, then comes the salat and the siyam and the zakat and the hajj and everything else. But without La ilaha illallah, we cannot build. This is the foundation. And on top of it, we can have all our ibadat. So we have to strengthen our La ilaha illallah, understand what does Taghut mean, and disbelieve in it, reject it, and understand what does Iman in Allah mean, and then both together will make me and you a believer, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us live on La ilaha illallah and die on La ilaha illallah. And Ya Allah, and I ask you with the best of your names to make our last statement La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasul Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I love you all for the sake of Allah. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.